Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Social RoundUp. This is our first time here with Sala, and we have Kostas with
Costas.
us.
Yeah.
Could you give us a small introduction about yourself, Kostas?
Well, my name is Costas. I'm originally from just East London, and that's it really. I'm just finishing off my education. That's it.
That's amazing. So actually, I am just out of school as well, and this is my first time on Relaxed Radio, and I'm super excited about the audience here. I'm excited to have conversations with all of you, and I think for both Kostas and me, what we share in common is that it's a fresh beginning for both of us. As much as the Social Roundup is also having its fresh beginning with the Relaxed Radio today. So, Kostas, actually, what have we decided to talk about today with our audience? What is it that we want to highlight and discuss about? And that
Well,
exactly.
today we're going to talk about education overall, starting from like school, moving on to further education. That could be college, university, or even just work afterwards. That's what we're going to be
Exactly.
talking about today.
I think both of us can relate to the fact that it's the first time we're doing something. Like for me, it's out of school, and for you, it's out of college. And we're both here doing this for the first time. And as much as it's a fresh beginning for the Social Roundup, it's also fresh beginnings for you and for me, right?
Yeah.
And are you as excited as I am, or is it just me?
Well, I'm excited as well, but I don't
Uh-huh.
know.
So tell us about your experience at college. How is it, Kostas? How is it like, stepping out of college, and how is it actually stepping out of school as well? Could you tell us how that experience was like for you?
Well, firstly, going into college was a bit more of a big jump coming from school, as it's much different because you have to be much more independent. However, my first year of college went quite fast because in March 2020,
Yeah.
coronavirus hit.
Mm.
So the whole rest of the year was taken. So we didn't have much to do. We just done online lessons. Next year, we started school September, December. I don't know what happened there.
Kostas, can you hear us? I think there's a bit of technical difficulties. But while Kostas is here, while Kostas is fixing his technical difficulty issues, I just want to
Hello,
point out that.
hello, hello,
Can you hear
hello.
us?
Can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah. Can you hear us? Yes. You were saying? So 2019 with
I
the
mean, I can't hear
coronavirus.
anything anymore.
Um,
1 second.
so we'll be back right after a break, and we shall continue the conversation, and we will talk about how these fresh beginnings have been for both Kostas and for me, and what it's going to be like with the Social Roundup as well. Right back here. So stay tuned, and we will be back with you in a few minutes.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that will improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts mainly, one, because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. Yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Climb Mount Everest. That is that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
You're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that will improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
We're back here on the Social Roundup with Sala and Kostas, and we actually want to talk about how, these fresh beginnings are going to be hard for us. And that exactly is what we experienced here, Kostas, right? Like the technical difficulties. And this is exactly what we've been adjusting to with work from home and online schooling as well, right? What was your experience like with that, Kostas?
Firstly, online school, I think it wasn't the best because everyone could just go off and do whatever they wanted instead of actually doing work. And it was more challenging with working with actual teachers because they can actually come up to you and help out like they would in class.
Yeah,
So
that is very true.
and the whole experience is not the same. Like in class, you can like talk to your classmates, talk to the teachers, like not just about the lesson, but when you're in lesson online, they just tell you what you're doing and they go off and they let you do what you're doing. So then this
Yeah.
leads to not as much work being done, and therefore you can easily fall off track.
That is
That's
very
the
true. I
problem.
think even for me, like I had my finals, and with having my final year of school online, like learning online has been really hard for me, right? The motivation and just knowing that there are people around you, the competition, the feeling, and that energy of, I'm in a classroom studying is missing when you're doing online schooling. And I think for the most part, we just wake up when we right before classes in our PJs, even before like brushing our teeth, or having a wash, right? We're just out there like doing our online classes, muted mic, switched off video, and the whole time we're just sleeping, right? And it has been really hard for me as well with like the final year because I'm someone who's an extrovert. So are you an introvert or an extrovert, Kostas?
I mean, I'm not sure what that means really, but
We're still figuring ourselves out, right? We're all figuring ourselves out. I think even with me, like for the most part, have you heard of the Myers-Briggs personality test? It's a really famous personality test quiz, right? And I recently did it. So it's actually a really interesting one. It has like 16 personalities, and you can basically
Yep.
figure out what type of person you are, what jobs work for you, what fields of education work for you, what you are like in a relationship, what you are like as a parent. And
Yep.
there's all these things that you can learn about yourself through personality tests, right? So I did the personality test recently, and between like extrovert and introverted, I had like a 99% extrovert. I was like, wait, what? Like, what? Just 1% of introvertedness, right? It's not even like an ambivert where you have a balance of like 60-40, right? And
Yeah.
but in general, like, are you someone who likes to keep to yourself? Are you someone who likes to talk to people?
Well, I think I'm actually in the middle as well because I do like keeping to myself on certain occasions, but I also do like speaking to people.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
right in the middle, I think.
So, I mean, ambivert is like a good balance because I'll tell you, as an extrovert, like life is not easy in any way, right? Because when I am by myself and I'm like frustrated, I have like anxiety when I'm alone. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm like losing my senses, right? Because during lockdown, like I was at home, right? And I would just absolutely lose my senses when I don't have people around me, when I don't have that energy, and I have no one to talk to. And it is so frustrating to be an extrovert. So I think like an ambivert is the right amount. And Ambiverts are, to be honest, really lucky because you can be alone by yourself, but also you can handle that energy with people, right? And for me,
Yeah.
working from home or online schooling has been really hard because of that. So yeah, I think like in general, being an extrovert or introvert, we need to learn to have personal space, right? What do you think? What kind of tips would you have for people to have like personal space by themselves?
I think they should turn to different type of activities that you enjoy. For example, me, I like going to the gym. So
Oh
if you
wow,
go to the
okay.
gym by yourself, you kind of just have your space alone. Unless you go with somebody else, which obviously is a bit more fun than going by yourself. But that's still kind of personal space because some people might like be stressed at home or like, for example, school, and they have like loads of brothers or sisters. They might just the house might be just messy and it's just all over the
Yeah.
place. So just leaving, go into your comfort zone, just go to your gym. Maybe you want to go to the park for a walk, whatever. Kind of relax and then come back to it.
I think I completely agree that that personal space where you know, do something by yourself, enjoy an activity by yourself rather, would really help you to, you know, sort of maintain that personal space and know to be happy by yourself as well. I think that's something we all suffer in this current generation where we're not happy by ourselves, right? We think that being alone is something that is bad for us. I mean, I am a victim of that mindset. Like, I kid you not. I keep thinking that, you know, I need to have people to be happy. And it's kind
Yeah,
of a messed up you know, thought process, to be honest. But I think like working from home and being forced into lockdown has really helped people learn to take that personal space, right? Was it easy
yeah.
on you to be at home? Was it easy for you to, you know, get to spend that time, so much of time to be alone? Because, you know, at the end of the day, you're an ambivert too, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it was all right. Like I still because we wasn't really allowed to leave our house, but I still tried to maybe like go for a run or something. But I've got a brother at home, so there was still some type of communication. So I wasn't super bored because there was times that you would be like so bored you have nothing to do, so you start like cutting each other's hair or something.
Yeah, yeah, that
That's
is
what
so
we
true.
started doing. Start doing DIY, like building
Ah, yeah.
things, art,
Uh,
yeah, just
wow.
weird stuff.
But that's amazing. But like, you know, if you were actually spending that time to do something and try something, get creative and get handsy with all
Yeah,
of that, like I do not have that. I do not have the patience to do that, especially when I'm alone. Like I don't have the energy to do that by myself, right? And what I do is like Netflix and chill and sleep all day and like eat all day. I think like one thing that I realized was that, you know, I didn't work out while being alone and I didn't have the motivation to do that, right? And I have a lot of respect for you because you told me your alone time is spent at the gym. And for me, being alone doesn't motivate me in any way to work out, right? And
yeah.
lockdown was really hard on me. Like I had this whole like complete shift in lifestyle. My body was changing, my habits were changing. And did you have an impact of that as well? Did your eating habits,
Of
sleeping
course, of
habits, or
course.
like
I think everyone did, especially sleeping habits, because you know you're not because
yeah,
of education. Say we was basically on just the half term, like summer holidays for such a long time, so
hmm,
you could stay up, play games. So lockdown did
yeah,
affect me, but then at the end, like August time, I started to realize that no, this is not good. I've been eating so much, so then I started getting
mm,
into the gym and starting to stay fit, and that's
yeah,
yeah, that's it really. So it does definitely did affect me and probably loads of other people too.
definitely. I think, like, in general, this was a completely new beginning for us, a new, you know, and the thing is, Corona was here to stay, right? We were like
Yeah,
hoping for better solutions. We were hoping that it'll go within a month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, and then half a year is gone like that. And then a year, kaboom, it's like gone, right? And you're like, wait, what happened? Like, it was just
yeah,
like within a blink of an eye, it was gone. Time is gone. It's flying. And like, I think for me, especially, it's been like, really really hard to understand, you know, losing I mean I'm young, you know, I'm like pretty young for now, and to know that I'm using the years that I should be spending, you know, partying, having fun, losing those years is really frustrating. Is it
yeah.
is it for you?
Yeah, I agree as well. Although I wasn't like I was still young as well. I only recently turned 18, but I turned 18, lockdown happened. I'm almost 19 now. So what the
Uh-huh.
hell? I feel like my time's wasted too. Like I'm not doing much.
Exactly. Yeah. Huh. So I mean, even for me, it's the same situation because I turned 18 during 2020. No, sorry, I'm 19 now. So with the same situation of, you know, using losing my young time, like where are the years? Where are the months? Time is just flying really fast, and it's frustrating for me. But I think more than anything, we were kind of forced to like learn a lot of things about ourselves, which I think I'm really appreciative of. You know, learning to cook for yourself, learning to spend time by yourself, and you know, you are forced into this situation where things get really hard for you and you need to figure your way out, you need to get yourself
Yeah,
back on track. and that kind of motivates you to, even after the situation is going to be over, you would know how much of a balance you need in life, because otherwise we tend to get into unhealthy habits even when we have the freedom to go out, right?
Yeah, that's
So
very true.
exactly. So, did you have the situations where you felt like you couldn't do this anymore? Because it's a new beginning for everyone, and in times that kind of at your lowest, or rather, you felt like you couldn't do this anymore. Are there any tips that you feel like people would benefit from? Something that you learned? Any lessons that you've learned through lockdown?
Well, definitely times where I thought, no, I can't do this no more, and then it just carried on going. But a situation like this where you can't really change anything when everyone's told to stay
Yeah.
inside, you can't do much about it. So you just have to stick with
Yeah.
it. Like if you can, like talk to your friends or like
Mhm.
find ways to enjoy yourself while in this like
Yeah.
bad situation. So we was in lockdown. So me personally, I was playing a lot of games. So to spend my time
Mm.
instead of wasting it. However, if I
Yeah.
could go back in time to change, I probably would have got into fitness at the start of lockdown because a lot of could changed over the year instead of doing it all the way at the end. So
Yeah.
using your time wisely instead of just wasting it for no reason and doing nothing
So,
would
I
have
mean,
been better.
I'm just curious. I'm asking you this, right? How do you stay motivated with fitness? Because I'm someone who loses motivation like this. I absolutely hate patterns and schedules, and anything that says, okay, this time to this time, like really frustrates my brain. And committing to something like working out, like, how do you do that?
Well, like I said, basically, well, at the start of lockdown, I started eating a lot and I gained a lot of weight. However, at the end of lockdown, August time, I decided to think, I thought to myself, like, well, like, I need to like sort myself out. So I started losing weight. I went into something called a calorie deficit where you eat enough calories, no, just under the amount of calories that your body burns naturally. So I stayed to that. And then
Yeah.
after like a month or so, I started seeing progress, which motivated me. In September, I
Mhm.
joined the gym. So then I started going to the gym and I started seeing more progress, which still
Yeah.
motivated me. And I just carried on and then it motivates you because at that time I was still in college. So I'll go to the gym and going to the gym, like I said, it gives you that peaceful time. So now
Yeah.
you went to the gym, you like kind of relieved all your stress and I can do all your schoolwork. So not only was my fitness going up, but my schoolwork was going well as well. And then
Yeah.
lockdown happened. So then you was like, oh,
But I think definitely like results and seeing your hard work pay off really motivates you too, right?
yeah,
And I think, yeah, for me, I think that's the only time I would stay motivated. And you have to kind of wait until your results start paying off. And that really is frustrating. It's a bit of waiting to
yeah,
do. But yeah, but I
that is
think in
probably the worst
general,
thing. The worst thing is
exactly.
that they don't happen overnight. And but
Yeah,
it pays off. Hard work does pay off. But once you do see the
definitely.
results, you kind of almost get addicted to it. You feel like I want to get more, more, more. It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting.
Exactly. And I think that is something that we need to talk about. And we will be continuing talking about how teenagers feel about this whole instant results and wanting to, get results immediately, and how to stay motivated through that, and how to continue with your fresh beginnings without getting frustrated. We will be right back after a break. This is Kostas and Sala with you.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of my that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest. No.
Mount Everest.
What?
Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest. Maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
We should be able to cycle there.
Oh.
Valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start and say, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Kaleidoscope.
We're back here on the Social RoundUp with Sala
and Costas.
Kostas, so can you tell us what we've been talking about all this while? What is it that we've been discussing so far?
Well, we discussed slightly about online learning at college, and then we started moving on to like lockdown and staying fit and keeping motivated.
Yeah, and I think like Kostas is a good example and good inspiration for most of us because don't be like Sala. Sala is like a bit of a mess. She doesn't stay motivated. She's not inspired by a lot of things, and she is sort of like a couch potato. I've been spending lockdown stuck at home, Netflix and chilling, and just sleeping my way through, eating, and that's all I've been doing. Not a really good inspiration, right? But unlike me, we have Kostas, who's actually a really good inspiration. He's been working out. He's committed and a hard worker, and I can only imagine what that lifestyle may be like. Kostas, I think another thing that we also need to discuss is apart from being having that personal growth, with you with, being committed to taking care of yourself. How is it that you also stay motivated to continue with whether schoolwork or office or whatever online work, whatever you're doing to maintain your life? Like, how is it that you balance both?
Well, beforehand when I was still in school, it was my days were quite short, so I would have time to go to, for example, go to the gym, and then afterwards still do some work. And like I said, the progress and the results get me motivated. Also, I think that the way my brain thinks, I have like a different way of thinking than maybe most other people. I just think to myself that I'm only doing this for myself, I'm not doing it for all these other
Oh,
people.
okay.
So I'm doing it
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
So that kind of helps me out as well. And then I also see like phones and all that other stuff as distractions because it's just a phone is a technology that's just being made by the humans that we use and distract ourselves from progressing in life and bettering ourselves kind of. So
That is so
when
true.
when I was trying to like go to the gym and do all that stuff, I avoided using my phone so often because it was a distraction.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like the current generation, the youngsters are actually very addicted to their electronic devices. To the point where it's like almost as if when they're eating, when they're showering, they need to have their phone on them all the time. When you ask them what is that one thing that matters to them, they keep mentioning their phone. And I've noticed like a lot of interviews as well. They are celebrities. Like, what would you pick? And one thing that they always give as an option is it your phone? What's the one thing you would save if your house is burning? And people keep saying it's their phone, and that's just really sad, right? Like, to the
Yeah.
point where we've come to get so attached to our phone more than how much we care for people as well. And Kostas, don't you think that the phone is actually a distraction even when maintaining relationships with people? Like, we don't have real life conversations anymore. We're constantly talking to people on our phone, right?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. So sometimes, well, not all the time it's a distraction because sometimes, for example, imagine if you're communicating with someone from a different country, say you have like family in different countries, so it helps you stay in contact. However,
That is so
people
true.
like all friends that you don't see often, but
Mhm.
people who are maybe you are able to see, you just tend not to see because you think, oh, I'm just gonna text them. That's it. But when you're
Yeah,
able to see them, so yeah, I do agree that they do tend to be a
that's so
distraction
true.
sometimes too.
Exactly. And I think like more than anything, especially because we're talking about, how lockdown was a fresh beginning for us. It was a new thing for us. It was completely alien to us before this, right? And with that, the one thing that kept us going with, online schooling or what made it possible for us to be at home but still access all these things was actually technology, right? And being
Yeah,
able to, as much as it's a distraction, as much as it's really harmful for all of us, I think that one thing that also helped us through lockdown would definitely be technology, and for that we need to give it its due respect, right?
yeah.
But other than that, I think like another problem that we have is that with stuff like TikTok, Instagram, it's a constant scrolling and constant distraction, right? I think even with online schooling or working from home, while you are like using your laptop, you have your phone in your hand and you're just scrolling through, like you're not even
Yeah,
focused, right? And I think at this point it's almost as if we are attached to our phone and it's become part of our body, which is really scary, right? It's like sometimes when you don't have your phone on you, you freak out, right? But are you
yeah.
someone who's attached to the phone like that?
Well, not anymore. Like I said, I tried to when I was in my routine, like properly in my routine, I stuck like tried to get away with it as much as possible. So now
Yeah,
I'm not forcing myself to get away with it, but I'm just not used to it being there all the time. However, I do highly
yeah.
agree with it because you be on Instagram, you're scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. You see one post, like a couple scrolls
Yeah,
later, you see the same post. So you're kind of wasting your time watching the same things over and over again. and in a couple of months'
Exactly.
time, you're gonna see the same post again. So so
Why
what I just
was
say, what I think to myself is like, I'm just not gonna watch other people's life when I can just like better my own.
Wow. Okay, that's something that we need to copy paste like facts. Like that is facts. That's straight up facts. We need to put that up right everywhere because I think like that is definitely the problem with our society as well because we're so attached to our phone and we feel like we're so caught up in other people's lives. Like we forget that we have a life, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
also. Yeah, and I think like with portraying our life online, I think we sort of fake some life that we don't have, and we're sort of trying to portray this, perfect world for us. Like we post pictures of us with filters, with these captions, with these edited I don't even know Photoshop, right? With all of that. And I think that really is making us really sad people in the society.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
agree because I think that what you see on Instagram or on other social medias of other people, their life
yeah,
doesn't is not as perfect as it might seem. But
exactly.
you're trying to replicate that to your own life, but your life isn't as perfect as it seems as well. So then it just
Yeah.
becomes like a big fairy tale that doesn't actually exist.
Exactly. But I genuinely have this, I've always thought about this, right? Like if social media, we talk about how toxic social media is for all of us, right? Especially now with being at home, being, having online schooling, working from home, getting distracted with all of this. Why do we actually use social media? And I think we need to kind of redirect our mind and, sort of bring our focus back to, understanding the root reason as to why we are all doing this, right? So what do you think is the actual reason we should be using social media, or why is it that we still need to give it space in our life?
Well, well, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. You communicate with others, you can like share your life, but then
Yeah.
what has happened, I think, has gone over the top. So like the communication is kind of going out the window. It's just about sharing what you're doing and trying to make it as perfect as it could
Exactly.
seem, and that's it really.
That is.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like even with me, I think like for me, my perception on my perspective rather on like social media has changed over time, and with Instagram, I have started to sort of realize that I need to be more real on social media, right? And the truth is, social media is sort of like a collection of our good memories. It's us
yeah,
remembering the good times, posting pictures with your friends when you hang out with them, and remembering those good memories. But I also have been trying to implement this whole thing where, I'm sort of trying to be real on social media and, try to not use as much as, Photoshop or anything and keep it real so that people know, look, whatever said and done, this is not, it's not real. It's what you think is not real, right? And while we keep that in mind, I also want to remind you guys well, on Instagram, you can follow Relax Radio on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook, and you can watch our lives on YouTube as well. And if you want to engage in conversations, just the way Sala and Costas are doing right here, you can always call us up and you can always engage in conversation. Tell us what you feel, tell us what you think, tell us about your day, and tell us what you think we need to be talking about. Are we missing anything in our conversations? Talk to us, and we would love to have you on board as well. So, Costas, on that note, so are you someone who is very strict on, even with with gaming? Are you someone who has disciplined yourself, or are you able to do that, or is it something that you're still working on?
gaming. I think that I've been like back in like 2012, 14 time is when I got into it a lot when I had like an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Then I was just so addicted to it. All I would do is play games, play games, play games. But as the years
Yeah.
go on, I kind of find other things more interesting to do. For example, I would much rather maybe go out with my friends instead of staying at home and playing games. And actually, a couple months ago, when the PS5 was meant to be coming out,
Mm-hmm.
I sold my PS4 in order to get this PS5. However, I still have not got a PS5, and I'm angry at
Okay.
myself for selling this PS4 because I could be playing in the times
Yeah.
that it's just stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have that one thing. We're not perfect humans. We all have that one thing that we want in life, and it's frustrating. Like for me, when I don't have like my sort of music around me, when I don't have sometimes with my phone, it's really frustrating because it has this like audio problem, and when I don't have music playing in life, it's really frustrating for me. Like it gets to me, it eats up my brain because that's the one thing that keeps me going as well. So I think we all have that one thing that we need to sort of relax and take a break from life. And as much as we are all figuring things out for ourselves at home, figuring how to survive this lockdown, be it with online schooling, be it from working from home, whatever it may be, I think that one thing that we've discussed today, Kostas, you and me, what we've really been trying to work on is understanding that we all have our weaknesses and that we all have a lot of things to work on. And we will get there slowly, right? Well, what's your last, what do you think you want to finally say to our audience today?
Well, whatever you want to do, I think you should stick to it and keep going, because in the end, everything happens for a reason. So if you're kind of moving away from something, maybe it is happening for a reason, or maybe like what they say, when a door closes, maybe another two do open. So just keep going and just push yourself to the limits that you don't think that you can reach, because you can reach them.
Definitely. I think staying motivated is actually really important throughout the process, and we all tend to lose our track, but we will get there slowly, and we will be here to support you from Relaks Radio. We will be having these conversations that will help you. We will share our tips, our life journey with you so that you get a better picture of what you could possibly do, what different things you could try. And we're here to even try things out with you, right? And with that, we have come to an end with this. And we will be tuning in with you the next show. We have something interesting coming up. And with that, we're going to take a small break right now.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. I
mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.